Today we are at Veterans Memorial Park in Brooklyn, Ohio, and the stream you see behind me is Stickney Creek, which is tributary to Big Creek, which is tributary to the Gallagher River, which then goes out to Lake Erie. Here in Stickney Creek we have a old bank stabilization. So these are gaping baskets. They're filled with rocks. It's wire filled with rocks, and they are put into the bank so that erosion doesn't occur. But over time, the stream wants to reestablish its floodplain. So when you build that high wall like that, the stream can't flood up and over that wall, and so it makes its own way. And it started eroding away. The gabion baskets have failed. They're actually sitting in the creek, and the trail has started to erode pretty severely. So the point of the project, the stream restoration, will be taking out a lot of these gabion baskets so that the stream doesn't have to keep fighting against them anymore. It'll just be able to flood over and slow down its floodwaters, drop out some of that sediment and material, and then when the storm is over, it can come back into its natural channel.
So what we're looking to do is create, again, a regenerative, a bioengineered technique where we're using the vegetation to stabilize that bank. You know, these types of structures, the gabion baskets, riprap, the strongest they are is on day one when they go in. They're just going to erode and continue to fail over time, whereas a bioengineering technique, it's only going to get stronger over time as those plants develop, the root systems develop, and it really locks it in.
What is floodplain and why is it good?
So floodplain is really that low-lying area adjacent to a stream or a river that's subject to flooding. And as important for a number of reasons, especially in urban systems like this. Because the stream can't get out, all that fast-moving water, it's just sort of continued downstream, and it's going to cause the next, erosion in the next community, next park. So the idea is where if we can get those floodwaters out on the floodplain, help slow it down, we're going to reduce that downstream flooding, and we're going to reduce that erosion in the stream. We're really going to improve water quality. Because we're in an urban system, a lot of parking lots, whatnot, those pollutant particles, they get washed into the stream, they attach to the sediment that's moving through the stream. So in those flood events, you can see the water color changes, it gets darker because we're actively eroding, we've got that material coming in. When we have a nice vegetated floodplain, it's going to start to slow those floodwaters down, and the sediment's going to drop out. Those pollutant particles that are attached to the sediment drop out as well. And when we have a nice native vegetated floodplain, that vegetation is going to uptake those pollutants, so we're ultimately going to be improving water quality in the system.
Personally, this creek is behind my house growing up, so I have fond memories of walking in the creek as a kid. Currently there are 2 loops, and with this project we're able to loop everything together with a new addition of a footbridge on the east. I think residents are going to enjoy that. In this particular park, like many other parks, we were hit hard by the ash borer and we had to take down a bunch of trees. With this project, we may have to take a few trees down. We'll be planting more than we'll be taking down, and then with this addition of this grant, we're able to add 27 additional trees to the project.
We'll be putting in a series of oxbow wetlands, reusing a lot of large woody debris, things to create a lot of great aquatic habitat in these wetland features. We want to create some views down to the river here. So we'll be looking at some species that have higher raised canopies, things like sycamore and cottonwood, so people can look down into the stream, into the wetlands, and see the restoration. So trees that have great winter interest, things like river birch with the exfoliating bark, sycamore, shrubs like winterberry. So we'll be trying to integrate a lot of those different species into this, again, not just from a solely restoration perspective, but also from an aesthetic and a park perspective.
The partnership between the Sewer District and West Creek Conservancy is just mutually beneficial. We have our regional stormwater management program, and we provide funding for erosion, flooding, stabilization projects around the region. This project has been on the district's radar for several years now. We've walked this section of stream, we noted eroding banks. It's an opportunity to improve the stream and improve a really nice public space.
Also joining us today is Bob Gardin from Big Creek Connects. Bob, can you tell us a little bit about Big Creek and Stickney Creek?
Big Creek is one of the most urbanized streams in the larger Cuyahoga River watershed. It's about 38 square miles. includes most of 7 communities, including all of the city of Brooklyn. Stickney Creek begins in the northern part of Parma, runs through part of the Old Brooklyn neighborhood of Cleveland, and then through the city of Brooklyn to join with Big Creek downstream from here. We've done cleanups throughout the city of Brooklyn. We have our annual Big Creek cleanup. We also work with the kids through a school program for STEM education, and we do an annual stream monitoring program with 7th, now 4th graders for the city of Brooklyn. The teachers, the parents, they really love that because it engages the kids and the community in understanding the importance of our streams. They get a good understanding of how the different sciences relate to stream monitoring. I think it's just great to see people become more aware of the streams, where the water goes, how it enters into the stream, how it really impacts the environment that that they live in and that they have an opportunity to really enjoy.
This is the Stickney Creek restoration, and I've been a project manager on this from inception when it was first prioritized as a stream restoration project, all the way through the grant writing process, the RFP, finding the engineers, finding the construction firm, and all the way through construction. Kind of where we're at right now is the construction firms have done their full plantings, and we're on to our education outreach component where we're working with Brooklyn schools, and it's one of the more enjoyable parts of the process where we can actually engage the public and especially the youth into working on the environmental restoration of our rivers.
What we do with the students is we tell them about watersheds, land uses, and how their uses contribute to the water quality. We do a habitat analysis studied along with the macroinvertebrates, or the water bugs, we like to call them. We kind of give an overview of the watersheds and how they function and everything. And then we'll often go back into the school classrooms and kind of review everything that they learned in the field.
This is my 6th year coming on these trips, and we bring our students out here because this is the best hands-on learning they will ever receive. It goes really well with our Ohio science standards, and the kids will remember this experience. Not only do they come out in the fall and do some testing and evaluation of what the creek health is, and then to come back as a follow-up, it just really nicely brings together a complete lesson.
Hi you guys, I'm Eric Soehnlen. I'm a field biologist with our environmental assessment group at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and we're looking at water quality in Stickney Creek. So today we're taking macroinvertebrate samples and discussing habitat, and we're showing the students the different types of macroinvertebrates that we're finding in the stream and what they mean about water quality. They're very excited about environmental studies and water quality, so it's always a fun time to be out here with the kids.
So it's very exciting to see everything growing in. This project, just as a reminder, was to expand the floodplain in this area to make it more naturalized. Beforehand, there were trails on either side that were flooded constantly because of the storm events. When the stream would come out of its banks, it would flood the trails, making them unusable, and it really wasn't what the stream needed. Those trails were removed. You can see there's tons of new plantings in the area. There were some additional structures put in. There were some pocket wetlands to help with water quality and to increase the diversity in the area. Those riffles are great because they add oxygen to the water, which the fish really like, and they cool the water down too during hotter days. You can see here, it's really starting to grow in. All of this is fresh growth just from this season. It's really great to be out here and to see everything coming along very nicely.